All right, I just had the pleasure of touring the Harley Davidson Museum, and absolutely cool as it could get, seeing all the old school bikes, serial number 001, the flat trackers, and the hill climbers, and the military bikes, just absolutely cool as it could get. And it got me thinking about all the innovation and invention that went on in the early years of Harley Davidson and early years of industrialization. And it brought me back to a conversation I had with a friend of mine, Dane. Some of y'all saw my Facebook post where I had stopped through Aurora, Colorado the other day and got to crash at my buddy Dane's house. He and his wife were unbelievably hospitable. Cooked me a home-cooked 3-course meal, ate like a king, had a real bed to sleep on. All treats when you're used to, truck stop food, sleeping in the back of the truck here. But we caught up, we talked for hours. Being in Colorado, of course, eventually legal marijuana came up. Now, Dane doesn't smoke, and I can't smoke because I'm a commercial driver. But we talked about the goods and the bads of Colorado being the first to have legalized marijuana. And Colorado, the Denver metro area in particular, paid a pretty heavy price for that. They got flooded with, we'll call them marijuana enthusiasts, and drove the housing market through the roof, overwhelmed the job market, huge explosion of unemployment, and huge explosion of homeless. He did say that was getting better now because other states have recreational marijuana now. People have decided maybe their skill set would be better suited to a lower cost of living area than the Denver metro area. And we talked about the money, the boatloads of money that marijuana brought in. They tax marijuana in the 30-some% range if you're in-state and 60-some% range if you're an out-of-state buyer. And where does that money go? Well, originally it went just like North Carolina does anytime they tax something that nobody really wants you to tax. And they say, we're going to give it to education. But that never helps education. The quality of education never goes up. They might get some new iPads that any decent businessman could have negotiated to get donated for a tax write-off. But that's about it. And somebody in the metro area government did something that politicians almost never do, and they said, what we are doing is not working. Let's try something different. It's a shocking idea to do that when one of your policy fails. But they said, we have the Denver metro area public library system. It's been operating in the red for a decade. Let's give them the money, and what they have left over we'll give to education. So the metro area public library system went from a deficit to fully funded with a $34 million surplus in a year. And it's at this point that a man of genius steps in, and that's the head of the metro area library system. And he said, let's look at what the original intent of the library system was. Well, the Rockefeller family pushed for public libraries. And they did so because they said, if capitalism and America are going to thrive, we need people to innovate, we need people to invent, we need people to be able to own their own business. And the path to that is education. Well, at the time, education was highly expensive. Rich people got educated, poor people went to the factory. And they thought, if we can put books in the hands of everyday people, then the intelligent ones with drive and ambition will be able to educate themselves and innovate and invent. And they were right. It worked very well. So jump forward to today, where everybody, almost, well, at least everybody in America, and most first world countries to boot, has the world's wealth of knowledge at our fingertips. Most of us squander it scrolling Facebook and YouTube, but it's there. So that is a moot point. And he said, what is it that they need now? What is it that people don't have access to that they need now to foster that innovation and creation? Space and equipment are what came to mind on his answer. So the Denver Public Library System went out and bought embroidery machines, sewing machines, screen printing machines, glow forges, 3D printers, robotics equipment, computers to code, equipment to prototype electronics, all this equipment, and created what they called maker spaces, where you can check out the use of these pieces of equipment to do your own projects. Now, the first thing that went through my mind is Johnny Know Nothing's going to step in there and he's really going to screw something up. He's going to break a very expensive piece of equipment. They had that covered. Dane, my buddy in Aurora, does upholstery work on the side. It's a hobby of his. And he was redoing a seat. He wanted to embroider a logo in it. Well, Dane doesn't own an embroidery machine, much less has he even touched an embroidery machine before. So he went online, put in what he wanted to do, and essentially checked the box that says, I have no idea what I'm doing. Within 24 hours, a representative of the Denver Library called him, said, we have a woman here in Denver who owns an embroidery shop. We pay her to come out a couple days a month. You can sign up with her, and she will spend 3 hours with you on a Saturday teaching you how to use this embroidery machine to do the project that you want to do. We provide raw materials for you to practice with, and once you know how to use it, then you can check the machine out and do your own project. And this absolutely blew my mind. All the times that, me and my buddies are sitting around the shop working on a car or a motorcycle, that we've thought this would be something cool to make. Or when you've been sitting around a bonfire thinking, having a beer going, if we made this, not only would it be cool, but, man, you'd be set for life. But there's no way we could do it. I don't have the money for a glow forge, do you? So now I can go to the public library, learn how to use that piece of equipment, and do my own projects with it for free. Why is the whole nation not doing this? To give you an idea of how successful this particular program was, they had it for 2 years. COVID hit, and of course everything shut down. While it was shut down, they took the opportunity to quadruple the size of their maker spaces because they had been absolutely overrun with people wanting to learn these skills, wanting to learn how to make things. This is a program that should be in every city in America, especially low-income cities, or cities with large low-income populations. This is a path for a kid who's got, 3 options: gang life, prison life, or dead, but who is intelligent and has drive to turn themselves into a CEO because they've got a good idea. This is the path where I've seen guys making orthotics out of 3D printing. You can go there and learn how to use the 3D printer yourself and make your own orthotics. Make your own arm if you lost your arm, leg if you lost your leg. the possibilities are absolutely endless with this. And it really fills a void because our schools aren't doing it anymore. They've killed home ec. They've killed the electronics classes. They've killed the photography classes, and not just because everything went digital. All the hands-on stuff, they took it out of schools. They were too afraid somebody was going to smash their finger. And then on top of that, we devalued trade schools completely and convinced the whole generation that dumb people go to trade schools and smart people go to college, which is why now you have so many people coming out of college with liberal arts degrees and absolutely no job or life skills whatsoever, and they're pissed off about it. But here's an answer. Unbelievable opportunity. At least that's my opinion. So tell me what you would make if you had access to a program like this, and what you think of the whole idea of the program. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to keep living the dream.